in studio this morning. We're not even talking city government business today. We're just
we're just upset. I come in here offended. I just don't know.
I'm sorry.
I'm hurt.
I have a man a little bit younger doesn't appreciate some of the
y'all
shows.
Disgraced my people from the South by talking about Minnie Pearl and Grandpa Jones and junior samples. And...
I kind of dug Hee Haw. He was, the HR puffing stuff a little bit out there. But joining us here in studio this morning, we have Jason Perry and Judy Stubbs. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
In case you just tuning in and haven't heard what we've been talking about here, Jason has been nominated and won the Leadership Roswell Alumni Award for outstanding. Let me get the title right. Outstanding Leader Award. Judy was our nominate, the person who nominated Jason, and then the committee, agreed with Judy and said, "Yeah, that's a good idea." But first of all, thank you guys for coming in, appreciating this, and I made a joke, but not a joke, actually. The end of last hour was, this is kind of the pot calling the kettle black here a little bit, because either one of you are, as far as service to this community, it's like, no, you are, no, you are, no, you are. So, either one of you could be the person here that's receiving this award.
If I can interrupt you, Mike, I actually have won it.
See, there you go. So matter of fact, Amy was talking about your involvement in Leadership Roswell and part of or Elaine was, I think, actually, and talk about your alumni as well and everything else too. Mm-hmm. So
I actually, you know what? It was Greg Lettingham and myself. That sort of tells you how long ago, that wrote the bylaws for the Alumni Association. Okay. Got them passed in 1995.
Nice. We haven't changed them since. I'm just kidding.
No, they've been changed several times, but that's fine. But it's a good organization.
It is, and that's something. And I think we did the honors and stuff we're talking about. Won't get more into this, but at the end of the day, the next class for Leadership Roswell will be firing up here in the end of the summer. Right. The end of July here, the nominations are being taken now for that next class. I think you got the end of July to get those turned in. So. And if you've been considering signing up for Leadership Roswell or know someone that would be an asset to do this, please look into it. I will say this, don't wait till the day before to fill out your application. It is an application that requires a little thought. They don't want yes, no answers. And I mean, if we wanted that, we'd let everybody in. And it is limited to 30 people. And I'm telling you, more than 30 apply. So please start putting your applications together and maybe you could be a part of the class here in August when it starts back up. But good. That being said, Thursday night, I keep my day ahead of myself here, the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association is having their annual awards banquet. Unfortunately, we've been able to do a real version of this the last couple years because of COVID. But this year, it's back to the traditional, we're going to all meet and have a nice meal together. Elaine told me last hour, but this is only good for today. You can still get a ticket, and I think they have a table left. A table. So if you want a table, they got a table. But if you want individual tickets, they can still get today. Mm-hmm. Today only. Call Elaine direct or text Elaine direct, 575-626-2640. And then you can get a ticket or two. Usually or
a table.
Yeah, or a table.
Or just to get the table.
Bring a friend and or the spouse that may or may not be mad at you right now. But this will get you out of the doghouse if you are. But anyway, come out and celebrate because Jason and we've got this and really 5 other people, 4 other categories here total of people that we're going to be honoring here. So I know this. I got to ask. I'll start with you, Judy. Sure. What was your decision making when you said, "Hey, I want to nominate Jason"? What was it? I mean, he speaks for himself on why
exactly.
this, but I want to know what was it for you that said, you know what, I need to make sure he gets recognized.
Well, and let me say too that the nomination form was not hard to write because of all of his credentials and the good things.
Probably the hardest part was limiting it to the space provided.
That's about right. That's about right. But, Jason and I became immediate friends when he first went on the council in
2009.
2009. And it was pretty amazing how quickly we became friends and realized that all the differences that we have, that you would not expect us to become friends. It was very easy to start working with Jason for what was best for Roswell, and the fact that we shared a lot of the interests and philosophies, and were able to work together. So, like I say, it wasn't difficult at all to nominate Jason, and I'm tickled to death that he's going to be honored Thursday night.
Absolutely, and there's something, and I know he's. I know it feels weird to talk about a guy when he's sitting right here. But my time with Jason and everything, and you're always involved. I always say you're always involved in things that are for the betterment of people. Like, obviously your day job as a minister, and so really at the end of the day, that whole job is helping people, being closer with God, and helping them through life struggles and crises and things like that. So, and then what do you do in terms of things you like to do in your free time? Oh, by the way, I'm going to, technically you get a paycheck to be a city councilor, but if you're looking for that to get rich and fame, you're not doing it right. But anyway, at the end of the day, you sign up to really multiple times here for many years, and left and come back and everything. But again, the job of a city councilor is to serve the public in the community and do that. So you always choose things that are of service. And so it takes a special kind of person that, you could be a city councilor, you could be, and do one facet of your life is that serving the community. And that's more than enough for all of us. We all say, hey, that's awesome. You're like, no, I'm going to take every single thing I do and turn it into some way that it's serving the community.
My grandfather was a Methodist pastor, and he taught me when I got into ministry that if you're just going to just count your ministry as service, then you're going to have an issue. That you've got to be involved in your community. You've got to let people know you care.
Yeah.
And there are there are probably 1,000 people that deserve this a whole lot more than I do. I've been humbled by this to receive this, because I don't consider myself a leader. I consider myself a servant. But maybe sometimes that's what makes a leader out of us.
Sure.
Is the reason to serve. When Judy and I remember that first city council meeting when they voted to approve the Mayor LaGrone's appointment when I took over Councilor Green's position. We didn't know where this was going to go. There's so many differences between Judy and I. We were just joking earlier. There's a little bit of an age gap, just a little bit. But she could be my mother, I tell her.
Exactly, it's true.
Our religious differences.
Sure.
I me being Baptist and Judy being Jewish. And then we think differently when it comes to a federal. Things,
Sure.
There's just so much that we think differently on, but here's what I think made it work. And I think was what has made it work, working with all the mayors we've worked with, all the councilors we worked with, is I never came forward with an agenda.
Right.
And Judy never came with an agenda.
Sure.
We sat down as bipartisans, which is what local municipal government is, and said, okay, this isn't about my flavor in this, or this isn't about what my buddies want to happen. What is going to be best for our community? And there have been times we've disagreed on that, but we've disagreed very few times. But it was okay. We disagree. Let's move on to the next thing. And that's part of serving the people, is not be fighting all the time about stuff. Finding areas where we can agree to make a difference on. And I think we've done a great job working together to do that.
Well, and to be honest, I when I hear this, I'm like, you're kind of downplaying that a little bit, but in this world, in today,
Exactly.
that should be put on the biggest pedestal we've got and told to say, you know what, we all come from different experiences in life. We all don't start at the same place when we start life. We all hope to end at the same place, but we all don't start at the same place.
It's true.
And and this is something, even though we may not agree on the path to get to that same place, we all understand the direction in which we need to go and to get that place.
Right.
And that's where you guys share common ground. I think
Absolutely.
you may have been brought up differently, raised in a different household with different sets of values, but at the end of the day, you understand that this is our community. We're all got to work together regardless of where we look and feel and things. And if we all come from the same place, it's look, we all want the same thing. We just got to give and take a little bit on what's the path to get there together. And to have you guys kind of state that and been doing this for years is the example I think others should see. It's like, look, you know, I get, and I don't want to get political here, but yeah, you know, you look at national politics and all that, and that's happening because that's the way it's designed. They're designed to alarm you and make you pick sides and do all of that kind of stuff. But here in Roswell, New Mexico, we don't need help doing that.
We're getting
humanity
past
does that by itself. You know what I mean? And like you said, and Judy says the same thing. It's like, okay, that's not my personal choice. But you know what? From the perspective and position I'm in, it's not my place to be putting some of that stuff into this. We need to know what's good for everyone, people that agree with me and people that do not agree with me. And that's so easy. That's easy to say, but very hard to do. And you guys do that.
I don't know that it's hard to do. Maybe it is for some people, but we haven't found it hard to do. I was going to say I agree with everything that you've said, and I also constantly try to remind myself that good leaders do not create followers. They create other leaders.
Sure.
And I think that that's critical. I think that Jason believes in that philosophy as well. And I think part of the reason we've been able to work so well together is that we believe that how important it is to listen to other people's ideas and perspective on things and wishes and that sort of thing to come up with what is in the very best interest of whether it's the city or whatever it is you're working toward. Like Jason said, neither one of us have ever had an agenda other than to do what's
good for the community. Yeah.
The very best thing we can for the community. And I think that's what creates leaders too. Leaders, we've seen leaders in other countries that are not trying to create other leaders. And I think that that's really a beautiful thing about this country and the form of government that we've represented.
Absolutely. And that's where, you know, when we talk about passion, passion's a good thing. You know, you want that, but you've got to understand how to harness, handle, and use it. That's where, because let's face it, you guys are passionate people. You wouldn't be sitting here. You wouldn't have committed to the service that you've committed to and the service you're going to continue to, because I know both of you guys are going to keep doing stuff, but you know what I mean? It's one of those things, but because of that passion there, that's why you have it. And that's the passion we want to talk about, you know, going and just being emotional. Sure, that might turn a head or two, but is it fixing anything? Is it doing anything to make a situation better? Making awareness of a problem, yes, that's important, but when you make the awareness part of the problem, that's when you're like, okay.
Well, and that's part there again of leadership when it comes to a position like city council.
Yeah.
And we've had some phenomenal counselors that we worked with through the years, and I can't think of one that I've worked with that didn't learn something from. We've not always agreed, or you know, buddied up, if you would, been the poster child for other causes, you know, some of that. But when you're on a council, it's not about, and I think that some struggle with this from time to time, it's not about what can I do to keep this from happening, or what can I do to keep that from happening, or well, what's next on the agenda? We've had, I'm just waiting to see what we need to do next. It's about being ready to say, what does our community need? Right now I'm working on, and it's going to be discussed in the legal committee, a ordinance on massage establishments.
Okay.
We've got some phenomenal people here in Roswell that are licensed massage therapists. They're doing a great job. They're bringing something and providing something to our community that we absolutely need.
Sure.
Then we've got some places that are popping up that may not be offering the
more
same
shady,
services,
yes.
and I'm just going to leave it like that.
Understood.
And so, what do you do in those situations?
Yeah,
Well,
how do you protect from the shady without?
You don't create an ordinance just to have an ordinance.
Sure.
You don't just create law just to have law. You want to find a way that's going to balance, that's not going to make it hard on those that are doing it correctly, but at the same time try but instead of just sitting there saying, well, I don't know, there's not much we can do about it. Part of leadership is just, putting the pencil to the paper and researching. And
Sure.
I remember Judy and I talked about this after this happened. When I first went on, I asked Mayor LaGrone before I accepted the position, I said, how much time am I going to have to put towards this? I've got a bunch of children. I don't know if you've noticed, and the church keeps me busy. And at the time, I was with the Noon Optimist, which is no longer, now it's just the Sunrise Optimist, and a Rotarian and everything. And I said, what, how long? He said, well, just talk to some of the counselors and find out. Well, I called a few. And they're like, oh, maybe an hour a week, maybe an hour and a half. It's really not that bad. So I thought, man, I can do this.
Sure.
Well, then when I got involved, I was, 15 hours, 20 hours, 25. And I was like, this is crazy. And Judy had to remind me, it's what you put into it that's going to make it what it needs to be.
And you're absolutely right. And to be honest, to do the job right, that's how it's happened. And so when someone can give you, and I'm not trying to bag on people or anything else, but when someone says, oh, about an hour a week, it's like, yeah, that's bare minimum.
Yeah.
That's the thing to check the box to say that you are what you are. It's kind of like for all of us when we were in school, remember? Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, but why do the extra credit? Well, there's, that whole debate. And it's because people that want to do good are going to do everything they can to do good. And so that extra credit and all that is that commitment to the task at hand. And that's, if your point is to learn and they're going to give you, and I know that sounds nerdy and everything else, but that's the mindset that succeeds in life.
But do you know what I tell my children? You know what you call nerds, the ones you call nerds in school now. Do you know what you call them in 20 years? And they said, what? I said, boss. You call them sir.
You're absolutely right.
You call them ma'am. Yeah.
But, we grew up, and I don't, I can't really speak for younger today, but like our generations growing up was very much in that vein of there's what is right, but then what is right in the social circle you're sitting in. And it's like, okay, I know the right thing is to do the extra work, but in this group, I might look cooler if I say, nah, I ain't messing. You know what I mean? That was that.
Well, I'm going to take another little jab here. And also, we were better off because we had people like Captain Kangaroo. All right, I got it out of my system. And Minnie Pearl. Okay, life lessons from Minnie Pearl. Okay, it's out of my system.
I think he just doesn't appreciate, it's a different thing.
But Mike, if I can say this too, I think that I have been so blessed, and I'm sure Jason would agree with this too, is I grew up in a family that believed in service back to our community.
Gotcha.
And I'll never forget when I became a 4-H'er at 9 years old, the first thing I ever remember doing for my community was baking cookies and taking them to a senior center, old folks home, basically. And how rewarding it actually is to be doing something beneficial for someone else.
Absolutely.
And I think the importance of Leadership Roswell is that it connects you with people who know people, who are doing important things in this community. And it may not be government like Jason and I have chosen. And of course, we have a wide background in other things too. But I really, like you said earlier, encourage people to look at Leadership Roswell because it gives you a broader perspective on this community, and it gets you into some doors that you normally probably would not. And how important that is in becoming a leader in your community and just being the type of human being that I think we all really strive to be.
Absolutely.
So, I appreciate that the Alumni Association has continued extended learning for those of us that have gone through the program and continued these awards, because I think it's really important to look at the background of people that win these awards, like Jason's and look at how hard it really is to make these decisions, but how wonderful it is when you do.
Absolutely. It's and one other thing because I look at Roswell as a community here, and I'm kind of like, we've got the best of everything. And what I mean by that is we're a small town, 50,000. We still have that, that feel of, lots of same people in circles, and, someone from multiple different things. And I love that feel of a town. But because of us being on an island with 3 hours in any direction to go near, we're a city of small size with the amenities of a much larger city, with our own jail and the zoo and just all the things we have here. So we kind of got, and it brings good and bad problems, but I think in the end of the day, we still get to have that family feel. Everyone knows you can walk into a store, hey Joe, hey Sue, how you doing today, whatever it is. But at the same time, if you want the more convenience of stores and just amenities, we don't have to drive 3 hours to go to an airport, do we? We've got one in our backyard. People in Artesia and Carl, they're coming up. But I mean, we got a good thing here. And I think that's what makes it so special, is because you need almost an interesting group of people to run that, because you've got to have that local mindset of mom and pop.
It's an interesting group of people.
But you know what I mean?
We all are.
But at the same time, you got to be with it enough to talk the big city lingo. And so yourselves and your counterparts and associates have a unique situation.
And I think part of leadership is, I don't know how many I have worked with through the years. I probably ought to count it up. Judy, you were telling me, how many counselors have you worked with since
over 80.
Wow.
Over 80.
Yeah.
And a great number of mayors and stuff. And, every turn of elections, there's something different. The voters seem to desire something, so you take that into account, and you have new people to work with, and they're trying to learn, and they're trying to see, what is your agenda? And it takes some folks a while to figure out, okay, he doesn't have an agenda, let's just work together.
Sure.
It takes time, but the great thing that I have found is, not once so far have we not found a way to take and put 10 people together, and then a mayor 11, and make it work.
Sure.
And make it work.
I'm curious, just curiosity. This is my own personal gee whiz curiosity. Do people automatically label you because they say, he's a Baptist preacher, he's going to think X, X, and X, and then you start talking with your city councilor hat, it isn't the same hat as Baptist preacher hat.
I had a constituent call me concerning the cannabis. And they started very upset, and and as they started talking to me and discussing what we had done, they started to get it that I recognize it's legal. It's legal, and there's nothing. And by the way, I am only one of 10. That's all I am.
Sure,
that's all I am. Being mayor pro tem doesn't mean anything, except for if the mayor's out, you run a meeting. I mean,
sign some things with the mayor's out. Yeah.
I am one of 10. That is it. And my counterparts, those that are working with me, if we don't agree, it's still one of 10. It's still one of 10. But I had a constituent call me, and they were just, why is this and why is that? And we need this, we need that. And I said, well, I it's not my favorite business personally.
Sure.
I'm not the poster child for it, but I recognize it's legal. So we went through, and the ordinance was written in such a way to allow these but to also protect the safety, welfare, and time, manner, and place.
That is the balance.
As we began to talk and think about it, they said, "You're right." They said, "Councilor Perry," and they apologized to me. They said, "Thank you for not just telling me to take a hike. Thank you for not just telling me you're not just being treating me like a child. Thank you for taking the time for us to discuss it." And they said, and at first it was sort of taken back, but they said, she said, this lady said, what you are is you're the conscience of the city council. You're the conscience of the city council.
That's a good.
And I thought for a second, I said, well, should I be offended by that, or should I be? And I thought, no, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. And I'm really not the conscience. We've got good people, a great conscience. But to hear that from a constituent who started out with going to give me a piece of her mind,
sure,
and to be able to recognize here's two people who think differently, who treat things differently, and be able to sit down and discuss this and come out with that title. I was okay with that.
I'm after hearing you just say these kind of things, the more I listen to that, the more I'm like, I think your next journey should be how to be a politician, a good one. And what I mean by that is the fact that you get it. You're a man of your personal life, your personal convictions. You live your life by those that way. But at the same time, when you put your politician hat on, you're telling them, look, I understand what my duties, my assignment, what my responsibilities as a city councilor are, and I know what's legal and what's not legal. Yeah. Now, obviously, anytime I factor my decisions into voting on an ordinance or making a decision here, I'm going to use my own personal experience, my own life, my own values, as one should in that position.
But you listen to other people.
But you also stay within the parameters of what is legal and what someone that doesn't necessarily agree with you, but has the same right to that. I mean, and that's where we society have kind of lost that in our leaders.
Well, if I ever write that book on how to be a good politician, I have to start out by defining politician. The word poly in Latin is many, and ticks are blood-sucking creatures. So we have to be careful on that.
There you go. So,
but you just make it work, and it's not just in city councils and anything you do in life. If it's with your neighbors that live next door to you, and you don't like the color they're painting their house. You know, you find those things. It's with in the community. Judy is so involved with Altrusa and so many other things, and I'm involved, with Roswell Rotary, and you don't just stop with just saying, well, here's my little dab in community. My whole family has just chosen, and I don't look at it as leadership. I look at it as service.
Sure.
It's service. Exactly. I've got 2 boys right now on the Roswell Police Department. I have another son who can't wait to graduate high school and go meet with Chief Smith and the police department, and hopefully be a third for the family in the police department.
There's going to be a whole Perry division at the Army.
And I've got another son who is he's in seminary right now to be a pastor.
Okay, I was wondering if any of the families following the footsteps of Dad.
I have my 12-year-old has just approached me the other day, and he's praying, and even at 12 years old, he's already starting to feel like maybe the Lord wants him to be a pastor as well, or something in the ministry. We train our children to serve others, and I think that through teaching people to serve others, that leadership skill just naturally falls into place.
Sure.
I don't know.
And as they get, especially your younger ones, they're probably like, okay, they're leaning towards going to be a pastor, but then they're going to learn more, and then maybe they'll take a different branch.
He may be a policeman too.
Of course, they may be like, okay, maybe I need to go to a different level.
Right.
But yeah, it's great to
whatever they're going to do. We're proud
awesome.
of them. Just make sure what you're doing is making a difference.
So when you decide to
life.
hang it up, I guess you got several places where they're going to have to put you up regardless. Like when you get to that point. See, that's the greatest thing about having kids is, at some point when you get too old, one of them's got to put you up. That's just the rules. So you got a lot of choices.
And there again, we're teaching our kids. My father-in-law, my wife's father, he has just gotten so bad. He was at Peachtree and was falling a lot. We just moved him in 2.5 weeks ago. And so he's living with us now. So I'm teaching my children, now this is going to be me one day. So I'm going to show you how I want to be treated.
And I'm sure, too, is they get to see you displaying the patience on it. Because let's face it, everyone's
patience is
parent
not easy.
always annoys you in some way. And it's a little different than when your children see how their grandparents, your parents, push your buttons. It's always a nice little family. You're just like, oh, thing to note there. But yeah, that's the beauty of family and all that too. But we're running out of time here. Thank you both. Thank you for your service, both of you, to this community. Thank you for continued service to this community. Thank you, Judy, for nominating this guy here. I know he wouldn't do it, but as I did mention earlier, I know no one does this for these reasons and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think it's important because somebody Thursday night's going to see you and our other nominee or other winners here, and they're going to be like, man, I remember that person did this for me, and they're going to look and then at some point they're going to be adults or in other, some of these young folks, and they're going to say, that's, I want to be like that guy. Everyone respects that person. Everyone sees that they're, you know what I mean? So in essence, you are leading by example. When we do give these awards out, somebody's seeing that and saying, wow, how did that person get to be beloved and well recognized by these people in this room? And it's like a lot of years of work and service and dedication. So I think it is, in essence, you are kind of advertising for our next Jason Perry to step up. I know a little bit here.
Well, I think it should be natural for us as leaders to be thinking about who is going to replace us.
Yeah.
I know we all love what we do, but nurturing those to become new leaders in this community is what the Leadership Roswell program is all about.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's really important to look at some of those things and for us to realize that we need to be working, like I say, growing other leaders.
Absolutely, and that's life. You know, we're facing and trying to tackle and mitigate the problems of today, but at the same time, you're also being watched by the people, the generations behind you, because they're learning from you. They're understanding how the system and the process works. And so when it gets to the point where we're just yelling at people to get off our grass holder, these are going to be the ones sitting in those city council chairs, sitting in the ministry at the pulpit, sitting in the business as the store manager. That's going to be those people. So we do appreciate you. And we appreciate both of what you guys do in that service. And I know you're going to yell at me, but or any desires to go back to city council someday, or are you done ski?
Well, I wouldn't have run for this last term had I not really felt I still was viable.
Gotcha.
And so I never closed doors behind me.
Gotcha.
So I can't say one way or the other.
Whatever the movement, the way the wind blows you kind of thing a little bit, or whatever the movement steers you a little bit.
Whatever Judy decides to do, she's going to put her all into it, and our community is going to be better off. I assure you.
And I know this for a fact too. Just because she doesn't officially carry the title anymore, I know you guys are calling her up and in her ear and asking for opinions. And she probably works harder now than she did when she was actually a city councilor.
Probably not harder, but it is a pleasure to be able to continue to.
Well, and that speaks volumes to you, because there's a lot of people in this community that trust and respect your opinion and everything. Well deserved, and
Thank you. My pleasure.
I would say that those people are pretty good judge of character. So
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you both. We'll see you on Thursday here.
Good. That's right.
And folks, like I said, call Elaine real quick, like right now, actually. Give her a call if you'd like to get tickets to Thursday's dinner, 575-626-2640. It is 6:30 p.m. this Thursday night at the New Mexico Military Institute in the VMV Hall. Like they were mentioning earlier, come off of Kentucky. You'll come, they'll have traffic. If you come off Main Street, you're probably going to get a little turned around. So come off of Kentucky. It's by the dining hall and all that there. So
across from the dining hall.
But again, reach out to Elaine. Call or text 575-626-2640. So very good. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you. We'll see you here on Thursday.
Thank you so much.
All right. And I'm sure we'll see you back on the radio from time to time. You guys are always pretty busy. So, all right.